Secularisation theories predicted that religion would die out in modern societies. So the theorists thought that modernisation meant a decline of religion. Secularisation just means religious decline. There's a lot of debate now about whether Britain's a secular society and whether secularisation theory was actually right, in predicting that religion would die out. And there's a lot of evidence on both sides. Secularisation theorists would point to church decline. The number of people going to church has halved since the 1970s. But on the other hand, the 2001 census, which had a question on religion for the first time, surprised everyone. 72% of the people said they were Christian, 77% they were religious, one faith or another, and that doesn't sound very secular. So it's really quite a mixed picture. Yeah, the word post-secular has become fashionable in the last 5, 6, 7 years, and it's used, I think, it's used to give the impression that maybe we were secular, there was a phase of secularity, but it wouldn't be accurate to say that's true anymore. But actually I think it can be a bit misleading if it suggests there's some huge religious revival. We're not seeing that, but we are seeing religion become much more publicly present. So that's partly because of religions that are brought by immigration. It's partly because spirituality has grown. It's partly just that religion is back on the world stage and you can't ignore it anymore. We took the town of Kendal in Cumbria and we used it as kind of spiritual laboratory and just to look at what was going on. And we found, two main sorts of religion there. It was a very white town. The churches, which have declined, and there wasn't much sign that that was changing. But then we found an awful lot of spirituality, New Age, holistic spirituality, paganism, all sorts of types of activity which are doing very well, growing really very fast. We were looking to see if religion was growing or declining or how significant it was. And we took a single town because it was researchable with the resources we had. We were a team of 4 people working over 2 years. And we took a town that was kind of bounded, so all the activities took place within it. People didn't go somewhere else to do things, so we could capture what there was. And we could kind of cover it. Within 2 years we would know exactly how many groups there were that were meeting for religious purposes. So the first year, really, it took a whole year just to identify what there was. Some people just meet in private rooms, or quite hard to track down a lot of religious and spiritual groups. And then once we'd mapped what was going on, then we took some representative case studies, a number of churches, a number of alternative spirituality groups, and we did a year of participant observation, building up trust with the groups and getting to know them, and then interviewing members of them. And towards the very end of the study, we put a questionnaire around as well. We were asking them about their beliefs and their values. It was quite culture focused, and what they thought, what their religion meant to them, how they thought about the divine, what their ethics were, how they lived their life, how important religion had been in their autobiographies. A very mixed picture, a huge variety of different kind of beliefs. The religious people tended to, one of our main findings was that the Christian churches, people within them, tended to have a picture of authority as something somewhat outside the self, whether they're in the church or the community or the Bible or God himself, that you need to attend to. Whereas people in the new forms of spirituality tended more to think of spiritual authority, any kind of authority, as something inner. So you need to listen to your own intuition, your feelings, your heart, make your own decisions on that basis. We were finding a picture, which we think is probably fairly true of the country as a whole, of Christian churches and religions that ask you to obey an outside authority, being in decline, struggling to recruit younger people. Whereas forms of spirituality that go with the cultural flow more in seeing the individual as having the ability to make their own decisions and find their own spiritual path without necessarily being told what to do by a higher authority, those forms of spirituality growing and attracting young people. And so we predicted that they'd be the ones that would flourish, whereas traditional forms of church, we predicted that they would continue to struggle. I think the biggest change is that sociologists have tended to look at religion in a national framework, whereas we're increasingly seeing it's a global force. So if you're a Muslim in this country, it's not just about being British Muslim. You're linked through the internet, through Hajj, through your community belongings elsewhere. You know, it's about a global belonging. So I don't think what happens in this country is all that's going to determine the future of religion. It's much more about global events, including political events. And given they're unpredictable, it makes the whole religious scene a bit unpredictable. But I would say that I think religion is becoming more important, giving people a sense of identity in late modern societies. That seems to be growing in a way secularisation theory didn't predict. So young people too finding, kind of rediscovering various forms of religion, but in new ways. You know, it's not just about going back to the religion of the forefathers, it's about finding new ways of being spiritual or Muslim or Christian or whatever, doing it in my own way, quite a lot of people say.